My name is Richard Corman, and I'm excited to share Madonna NYC 83 with you. So, as we walk into the show, this is one of the first images I shot of Madonna. I met her, ironically, through my mother, who was casting a movie. She was casting The Last Temptation of Christ, which was a movie she did with Martin Scorsese. This young girl came in, Madonna, to audition for a role that she never got, but my mother, who was kind of looking out for me as I was beginning my career, said, "You really need to photograph this girl. She's an original. There's nobody like her." So she gave me Madonna's phone number. I called Madonna. The next day, she said, "Come on down to the Lower East Side, East 4th Street, where we can sit and talk and take pictures." So this picture is actually in her kitchen. And to the side of this was a little table with 2 chairs. And before we got up to take this picture, Madonna had me sit down. She turned her back, went to the stove, and then came and turned around to me with a silver-plated tray with espresso and bubble gum. That's what she served me. It sounds funny and weird, but it was really the most, at the time it felt so normal. I was laughing inside, but it was really normal. So we talked for a little bit, and this was, I think, actually the 5th picture I took of her. She got up, she walked 2 feet, because at that time she was living in a tiny, tiny apartment. This was before she had recorded anything, before any album had come out. I didn't even know what her music sounded like. So she leaned on the stove, and as I like to say, there's no one that can lean on the stove like this. So one of my favorite pictures, and ironically, her favorite picture. And I've since sent this picture to her, and she now has it framed and up in her apartment, which is exciting to me. So we finished in the apartment taking a few pictures, and she said, "Let's go up to the roof." So she walked out of her apartment, which was on the 5th floor. She leaned over the banister, and she just yelled out. She said, "We're going up to the roof." I didn't know what she was doing. And this was the group of kids that she danced and sang with every day. I think these are kids that lived in the building or in the neighborhood. She was really the Pied Piper of the neighborhood. So this is a group portrait that I took of them. And then as we come around here, you can see where she's dancing and laughing and just hanging out with these kids that she really, really adored. So we finished up on the roof, and we decided we were just going to take a walk through the neighborhood. So at that time, the Lower East Side was really a ghetto, and it was also, it almost looked as if a bomb had dropped. So, this was one of the shots we did in the neighborhood. This again was on her rooftop where she's singing into her boombox. Another shot in the neighborhood. And again, what you have to remember is, back then, it was just me and her. It was, if we did this today, there would be 50 people around us. She would have hair and makeup people. She would have bodyguards. I would have bodyguards, just kidding. But I would certainly have a team of assistants. But at that time, it was just so simple. It was me, a camera, no lights. It was the simplest way to take pictures. And here's another picture where we were just walking down a street, and this crushed velvet couch somebody was throwing out, and Madonna just owned it as if it was her throne. And she really, in some ways, just looks like the queen of the Lower East Side. So this is an interesting collaboration, something that I could never have predicted. This is a collaboration with a very hot artist today. His name is Alec Monopoly. He's a street artist. And about a year ago, I was approached by him and his team to collaborate on works of Madonna. And he literally took my black and white images and painted on them. A lot of people have said to me, why would you let somebody paint on your work? And my response has always been, why wouldn't I? As an artist, you have to continually try to redefine yourself, refuel yourself, and do anything is possible. And there's no reason not to try this. Not only did I love him and his spirit, but he gave these a different life. It's not better, but it's different. And I love what he's been able to do. And we have literally toured the world with some of these images, and we are continuing to explore other images. Because at that time, I was photographing young artists at the time, his heroes, Keith Haring and Jean-Michel Basquiat. He's painted over some of my portraits of them, and it's been an amazing collaboration. So it's interesting, I've heard multiple stories about what's happened to some of these kids. Some people have told me that a bunch of them have unfortunately passed away. I just received a phone call from a woman in Florida who is she says she's a relative of this guy. His name is Lamont. I never knew his name. And unfortunately, he's incarcerated right now, upstate New York in prison. But he saw these pictures and wanted me to send him a picture of him and Madonna with these other kids, his friends. And what was interesting is he wants to write me a letter with his picture today, and tell me, I asked his relative, this woman, I said, I'd love him to describe what it was like at that time so that I can get even just a more intimate story as to what was going on and how exciting it was for him at the time. And so hopefully I'll get a letter from him soon where he really lets me know what the deal was. And the book is really just an amazing collage of images shown differently than you see in the exhibit. Some the same, using color in a funky way, collage, which is so much fun. Pictures that you wouldn't normally see, of Madonna. Just again using poppy colors to kind of, in a book. I mean, it's important for me that when you turn the page of a book to come up, to be surprised, to be constantly surprised. I mean, this picture is so much fun against pink. And again, just these collages of her with some of the kids, some of the pictures you've seen using color to represent a black and white picture, again, to show things in a different way. And just to also represent just the natural beauty of her, and then just to end with a traditional, strong, black and white image. I want to continue to grow. I never want to get there. You never want to get there as an artist. You want to keep climbing that mountain so that the journey remains exciting. And the hope is it never ends.